Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on January 31st, 2025 at approximately 4:28 p.m. PST. Welcome to a day in the office number 5. Today it just literally boils down to I'm simply wandering around doing what I can, what I do normally. But this does pin me down to be in the office to get a few things done. Now, what I do want to get here, probably should have set this up. Should have set it up first. But since I didn't, topic. Yeah, that wasn't English. Don't worry about it. Where are we? We go HTTP colon. There we go. Yeah, I definitely have to get into the swing of doing this. Well, that started off rather rough. But hey, what the heck? Let's take that, pin it to the top, and we're good to go. Now, what do we got here? Well, I forgot to get this set. Boy, I am behind schedule on this one, aren't I? So how about we get this sorted around? We got things happening already. I just can't read them just yet. So what do we got? Literally just bringing up the other feed on YouTube so I can actually see what's going on. Here we are. And that's all right. And there we go. Day in the office 5, that is today. Okay. Now I just wait for that to come up. And Joe Stewart, you are in with the gold. And Callie Snyder, welcome aboard with the silver. Followed immediately thereafter by Robert White with the bronze. How you guys doing? Glad you could join us. I am a little scattered, but that's understandable in today's world. I require this one. Well, actually, I don't think I do. See, trying to get too many things done at the same time. Yeah, let's put a second coat of that on. Why don't we do that? Been puttering around all day today. Actually, I did grab an hour's sleep at about 3 o'clock, which might be part of the problem. No, about 2 o'clock. That'd be part of the problem. Because, of course, I woke up at 1 o'clock this morning after a whopping 3 hours of sleep. Now, what do I got here? These are those neat little Christmas gifts I've been working on. But I will tell you, I finally figured things out. Some of it, anyway. Whoop, where am I? Don't want to break that. That's for dang certain. As I mentioned before, I'm a firm believer that people should work on making more in the way of handcrafted gifts. Okay, to me, there's just something more connected with them. So what I'm doing this year, I won't play Christmas songs. I won't play Christmas music. And of course, some of the gifts I'm going to be working on will not. And some of the gifts I will be working on aren't going for birthdays or for Christmas itself. These ones in particular are. But that's because they were designed for that years ago. Yeah, let's put my eyeballs back on so I can see what's being said, if anything. Nope. Okay. Now, of course, the Buy Me a Coffee is at the top of the stream is literally there to get you to any one of the books I've written, any one of the books I've written, or any one of the or my consulting, and or quite literally, if you just desire to help support what we're doing, which would be greatly appreciated. I did finally figure out what I was doing wrong to start with. Net result, I reached a point where the tools I'm talking about, as in how do you get rid of the excess work, the excess clutter. Now I mentioned it's got to be gone. You desire your world to work right. You've got to get rid of the clutter. It's kind of like clearing out a stream. Do you think we're going to get her hair done today as soon as I get this done? One thing is for certain, guys, if you've got a question, absolutely ask. But do me a favor and put the questions in all caps so I can find them. I sometimes I get really, really confused on occasion why I've got as much information I'm sitting on as I do. What I do, however, know is that any way I want to look at it, the information seems to get corroborated quite regularly, which is why I look at it going, like I question my own sanity in all fairness. And honestly, I question it because some of the information I come up with, I'm sitting there going, where in tarnation did I get that? I know there are many people I know that I run into that ask the same thing. Now, I mentioned before, like there are certain topics I won't deal with, but today, because I'm only looking at my own outlook on life. Okay, I'm not going to tell people who's right, wrong, or indifferent. I will tell you this. In my opinion, and that is strictly my opinion, we've got two divided worlds where it comes to creation. We've got the idea of creationism. Now, let's be clear one thing first. First and foremost, I do consider myself a Christian because of the fact I do believe wholeheartedly in God and in Christ. But there is so much evidence that points to the possibility of evolution. But what I keep asking myself, and this is what prompted my writing the Ildebakian Chronicles, I keep asking myself, why does creationism and evolution, why do they have to be separate? Why can they not be combined? It just never added up to me that was a realistic problem. So, now this is where things get a little screwy. Pull this book. Nope, pull the other one. This one here. Birth of the Wolf Pack. Okay, I found a way back in grade 10 to combine evolution, creationism, magic and technology, the ancient races, as in elves, dwarves, humanity, your goblins, your gremlins, Sasquatch, all the mythological creatures, aliens, humans, all at the same time, all under one convenient roof. Many of the techniques that we've talked about regarding the paranormal, such as meditation, mind over body, mind over matter, Okay, I've managed to include a lot of the different tools, the explanation for them, including including at some point, I will be dealing with the star drive, as in the oscillate densification of the tritransformational equilarity. Roughly speaking, it talks about the science of subquantum molecular mechanics. No, I am not a trained scientist. As a matter of fact, truth be told, which frankly is the only part I actually understand, I actually got pulled out of both basic chemistry, as in grade 8, and grade 8 physics because of certain medical hiccups. Now, am I going to go out of my way to prove what I'm talking about? Not a prayer. I will, however, be more than happy to answer questions when you ask. And this is the thing. Working in the office like this is just what I do. And this will, because by the time I'm done today, I should have. I'm doing a second coat on the. I'm doing a second coat on the flesh tone, so I'm getting it out of the way, and then I'll get to things like in Bam Bam's case or in Pebble's case here. I'll pick a nice bright red to use. I've got that, but these are being done so I can wrap them up for Christmas. It falls under the same category or under the same heading, if you will, of collecting up the clutter and finishing off the loose ends of projects. This is why I say, this is why I tell people when we're talking about what I do, what I talk about doing, it's not a question of do what I say, not what I do. It's a question of this is what I am doing. Now, what is today? I don't think I've got it done yet. It looks like I got a little sidetracked here. So it does look like I've got a bit of a glitch. Okay. Where Positive Perspectives is going to end up somewhat close to a week late. I've got to finish tying it off. I might have it all written, but the reality is the articles I wrote for it, went the way of the dodo bird. The entire notebook did, which is, to say the least, an annoying setback. So, I will get to that tonight. Hopefully, I will get it finished tonight. If so, you guys will get it. Otherwise, I'm going to have to. Bear in mind, I'm only doing this on my own. Okay? Which means with everything else going on, I've got a little bit of a glitch in getting things done. Oh, where are we here? Okay, we have there's two of us because I'm logged in. But then again, like I said, this is the question of getting this stuff done, of being in the office, so that I can get things accomplished that I've been putting off. Or that I just plain didn't have time for. So with that in mind, I may do a little writing while I'm here, but as you can see, some things take a little bit more focus. But we are making headway. Now, something else I'm having to do a lot of work with is making absolutely certain that while I'm doing this, that I'm also learning the other skills I've been putting off. AKA, I've started cooking for myself at home. Rest assured, cooking is not a favorite pastime of mine. Primarily because of the fact I've got no functional sense of taste, no sense of space, and even less sense of timing. Net result, I don't put a lot of weight behind what I cook. But where are we? Eyeballs. Now, with nice part is with the birth of the wolf pack, I've started adding into Positive Perspectives, the free newsletter. And again, all books I talk about, all consulting, the free newsletter, all of it is listed in the Buy Me a Coffee link at www.buymeacoffee.com/Inner Voice J. Okay, that's where you can get a hold of any of the work that I'm doing. Or if you're simply trying to get a hold of me, it's really not that difficult. But that being said, while I'm in the office, if you've got a question, absolutely, well, I have to put that on hold for a minute because that needs time to dry. You absolutely ask away. In the meantime, where is what? Okay. I gotta get that book finished. I really the biggest complaint I think that I've got, or the biggest observation, if you will, that I run into, is people keep asking, and there are very specific people that ask. And where are we, Joe? Oh, Joe goes, it snowed really heavy here at 2 p.m., then stopped at 5. But after a good snow, it makes the cemetery look bland. It makes the cemetery back at night just quiet, no doubt. But we got a little snow here. But the other thing I find with snow, a good snowfall really refreshes the whole area. Hey how you doing? Glad you could join us. Where did I put? Right there. I don't go outside much. Once the snow hits, I go outside even less. But then ice, snow, and a cane, bad combination. Oh, good. Glad things are working out there. Hey yo. Like very happy that's all worked out. The sad part about it, and this is one of the things that really set me off, not with what you were going through, but the fact that I'm still having to explain to certain people how things work for me, and they're not getting it. I did, like I mentioned during our phone call. Well, during the text I sent you afterwards, I had to borrow money to make certain I had rent covered. That was a precaution. Fortunately, the other check came in. But I'll tell you, working one day to the next and waiting till the last day of the month to find out if you're ahead of the game is just not working well. The stress level is insane. What do I got here? Backgrounds. What do we got? Jeremiah, Wilhelm, and Tanya. So, I do believe the next one will pull together his blade. I'm working on short stories for the backgrounds of the wolf pack. Okay, and that's from the birth of the wolf, from the Ilderbachtian Chronicles. Now, did I bring red? I sure as heck hope so. That's not the color red I want. I grabbed the wrong one. Okay, this is where I walked out of the room for a half a minute. Because I gotta go get the red that I require. Well, this will give you an idea how much I actually have of the stuff. These neat little containers, they're acrylic paint. These neat little containers, I've got 10 of them up front, each of which has, I think, 4. I want that color red. Each of which I think has four tubes of paint. I saw something came up here while I was gone. And what do we got? Cosmic Joe, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Hey, yo, I agree wholeheartedly with you. Oh, I appreciate the clarification there, Woo. The reality of it is that, I had to come back and do this. I'm only doing, a day in the office. I'm only doing that twice a week, Mondays and Fridays. Okay, because I can't be in here every day. I've got things I've got to get done. But here's a neat little thing about a day in the office. By working with the tools I've actually got, by working, that's going to work. By working with the tools that I know, and I'll be implementing them, assuming you choose to follow the same ones I've been following, we're going to show you how to turn your life around. Now, of course, tonight, no, wait a minute. Yeah, tonight is Friday. So I will be on at 9 tonight. Where the heck is mine? I can't quite reach. I will be on at 9 tonight, where we're going to be discussing persistence and its role in your success. But right now, it's just a question of getting some of the other odds and ends sorted around. And what is that? Oh, that's all the different storylines I'm working on. Okay. Now, this one here, the neat part about it is I'm not interested in having another year like last year. It's just one of those things that doesn't add up to enjoyable. I don't know about you, but I'm certainly not interested in repeating 2024. Most people I find just don't have a lot of use for it. I don't know about you, but I had an absolutely horrendous year in 2024. So oh, by the way, I knew what I checked what I had checked what I had as a balance at the beginning of January. Well, more to the point, on December 31st. Or was it first thing in the morning? Anyway, beginning of January 1st, I checked to make sure how much money or how much money was actually in my account on December 31st or on December 1st, right at the beginning. Well, net result was that I ended up finding out when I came to today, I worked it out. I've actually got more in the bank, I've got more in the bank than I did at the beginning of 2020 of January. And here's the neat thing about it. Okay, neat part about January is I set out to make certain every month I would have more money at the end of the month than I did at the beginning. Now, of course, I'm starting out in literally the red. So how can I tell I've got a little bit more money than I had? Well, that's the easy part. Because what I ended up doing is finding out that I'm still very much in the red, but I'm less in the red, albeit only by $100, than what I was when I first started, when I started January. What that tells me, okay, now you know what I'm going to do here, and I'll have to go back up front. But I have decided I'm doing this as a base coat of red, and then I'll paint over it with Pebbles hair. I'll paint over it in orange. Hopefully that'll turn out the way I'd like it to. But like I said, I'm not an artist. But I figured by really paying attention to what I was doing, I've got a couple of neat things that have happened. Most importantly, I've got more in the bank right now than what I did at the end or at the beginning of January. This tells me in quantifiable form, that the method I'm using for controlling what my finances are doing is working. Okay, and I'm not kidding, and this is why. Where is it? This is why this book was written. Okay, that's Believing Your Finances and Follow Your Dreams. That is just the simple, basic tools I used to reclaim power over my own finances. Now, I will tell you, this is not a get out of debt quick scheme. It is not a case of, borrow more money and you can get out of debt. That doesn't work as well as you might like. I mean, certainly it works. And rest assured, I am not a trained financial advisor. Which not only does that mean I haven't gone to school to learn how to do things, it also means I'm not making the same mistakes that they are. And yes, I will wholeheartedly tell you that financial advisors do make mistakes. Okay, so no, I'm not making the same ones. I'm making all new, tried and true ones. But what I did come to discover is that as long as you are consistent, as long as you pick a path and you stay on, you think your path through, and like I said, if you don't know entirely how to do it, absolutely either drop me a line and we'll set up a consulting time, or the book Buy Me a Believe in Your Finances and Follow Your Dreams has the same tools in very simple form. Okay, that you can certainly rely. Now, I say you can rely on them. Bear in mind, there's a staggering number of really good books out there for financial manipulation. I do caution you on one little note. Most of those books talk about you can do this if you've got $40,000 or $50,000 to play with. Okay. And the sad reality of it is most of us don't have $40,000 or $50,000. So when I wrote Believe in Your Finances, I wrote it with the idea of, okay, if you got $3 to your name, then you're ahead of the game. Now I have to check. Is that actually 5 days? I gotta be careful because I'm hanging onto a paintbrush. We have 5 Wednesdays. We did so. And so here's the other thing I started putting to use today this year. On the first, and you can start this at any time, but it's just an organized way of saving. And like I said, when we're talking about a savings account, the only type of savings account that is actually viable is one that doesn't cost you any money to hang on to have money sit there. Okay? It shouldn't cost any money to deposit. Bear in mind, now they will have limited withdrawals, but it's supposed to be an account that simply lets you figure out, lets you put money aside. So that is exactly what I've done with it. Which is why I now have in this savings account of mine, I literally have, what is it now? I literally have, I think, about $40, maybe 50, in the savings account. And all I'm doing is all you do to start with. When I ran the numbers, when I was first shown the idea, what they did was they said, okay, the same day every week. Now I started mine on Wednesday because Wednesday was the first day of the month. Okay, but the same day every week, once a week, you put in $1. Okay, on the first week you put $1. On the second week you put $2. Third week you put $3. Apparently, and I have not run the interest and what have you on it, but doing that all the way up to by the 52nd week of the year, your first in the weekly deposit will be $52. Now, apparently, and I have not tested this, but apparently doing that, you'll end up with somewhere just over $1,300 in the bank in savings. Now, I am going to be doing this all the way through the year. The first part of the year the first month went just absolutely great. Okay, but I did one thing to enhance it. On top of the idea of just putting that $1 in, the one grocery store that I go to, they say they give you a receipt that tells you how much money you saved on coupons and what have you, or on in-store sales. So, what I do there is I take that same money that it says I saved, and I put it immediately into the savings account. What most people tend to do, and this is a bad move, guys, most people will take, if you're told you saved $1 on a coupon, you go out and spend it on something else. Bad news, that is not a good way of doing things because it doesn't actually save you any money. That's why you've got to have that savings account. Now, of course, this is just something else I figured out while I was working away. While I was working away on the different projects. I tell you, it really was, from my standpoint, it was really imperative that that I take a look at. Now, the fact that I could not help, I cannot help everybody financially. I would love to, but I've already made that mistake. And it ended up digging me into one massive hole. So I figure the best thing I can do at this point is make certain I share the techniques I'm using so that people can utilize them themselves. The reality is, and I've mentioned this before, people do not plan to fail. They quite seriously simply fail to plan. Now, of course, tonight we're going to be looking at, we were supposed to do persistence on Tuesday, but then the whole computer decided it was going to complain. But, like I said, persistence boils down to picking a path and sticking with it. So that is literally what I'm doing. I picked a route for getting things accomplished, and thus far it's working rather well. There we go. Now, this week is going to be a little screwy because I'm getting this done. Well, at this rate, I'll be another, because generally speaking, because I got so much else on the go, generally speaking, I don't do a lot of painting during the week, which is why I keep coming back with these guys in pretty much the same shape. As far as I don't make a lot of headway. Get a lot of writing done. But I am going to get them finished. Because I will tell you, in the last month since I started this, I do not like Disney. I managed to get a fair amount accomplished. And of course, the thing with acrylic paint is it does soak into the plaster. So this is just one of those little things. When I said that I'm encouraging people to make their gifts, even like obviously with this one, that's an interesting color. Obviously with Pebbles here, I did not make the form, but I am adding my touch to it, my energy, by simply painting it. Now, I've got a couple of other projects I've already painted, and when this one's done, I will be lacquering all of them. And again, that is simply to make sure they hold. But I'm figuring this out as I go along. Now, I've already got in January's edition, I had the origin of a short little origin story of Jeremiah. And, so that worked out well. February has Wilhelm's, and March I've already written Tanya's. Now, these are the main characters in The Birth of the Wolf Pack. And of course, in some cases, they reoccur elsewhere. And yes, I did not forget, somebody mentioned the one day. Somebody mentioned when I was on the positive perceptions, somebody suggested writing an interactive novel. As in, here's a puzzle. This is, you get to choose what to do. It was real big back in the 80s and 90s. So I'm a bit of a dinosaur, so I'm bringing it back. What I haven't quite figured out is how I could possibly incorporate it into the Positive Perspective newsletter. And again, guys, if you got an idea with it, absolutely let me know. Speaking of which, I gotta double check that. There we go. And, gonna have to call that up, I think. Pop that in there for a second. Put you there, and let's take a look and call up a picture here. What I'm looking for is a paint verification. There we go. Pebble Flintstone. Call that up. And there we go. Oh, look. See, now I've done my things a little differently. Anyway, let's take a look at images, shall we? Images. Okay, I was right. And let's take a look at Bam Bam. That is Bam Bam Rubble. I just looked for a paint code. Okay. Bam Bam Rubble has, what's he got here? Well, I can't do that very well, but, let's take a look at that. Yep. Okay, so that's orange with black dots. Well, we're going to have a problem with that. Oh, sometimes he wears brown. So that works out well. Now, I've laid out things in my end to make certain that things change around. So I don't repeat last year. Yeah, I have no doubt about that there, Joe. Joe Stewart is just letting us know. He was reading one of his dream journals. Yeah, he says it's quite fascinating what you find out. Some of the, because he's got dream journals while he's on Dream Journal 5, if I recall correctly. Right. So he dreams a lot more than I do. I do a daily journal, but it's usually only a page of writing just quick thoughts the way I wake up in the morning. And this is how I know I've been fighting depression for quite a long time. And now what I'm doing is I'm no longer interested in fighting depression. So I figure, what the heck? I'll just give into it. No, actually, that's not quite the case. From my standpoint, boils down to this. I could argue the point of depression, or I can go, I'm not dealing with that anymore. And I'm simply going to do things the way that works. As in, I'm going to make a plan and correct the path I've been on. Gee, I did not do that very well before, did I? Fact of the matter is, all of us have the same choice. We can keep doing what we've been doing. Okay, you can keep following the exact same path you've been following all along and see how that works for you. But I will warn you, the best way I heard insanity ever described was repeatedly doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. Well, with this in mind, I've quit doing what I was doing. I no longer go out to the restaurant and eat every day. I still go out once in a while, but very, very rarely. I do have at least two. I've got to make sure I get something done here tomorrow because my fiance is coming into town to spend a couple of weeks with me. So I do want to make sure that goes well. Oh, look at that. I forgot to paint the back of his feet the first time. But no, she's coming in on Monday afternoon. And she'll be here for a couple of weeks. So I really do have this idea in mind that I'm going to make the most of the time I've got with her. Eventually we will get married, and that remains to be seen exactly how that pans out. But it's been in the works ever since we first met, or more to the point, I told my other half, I told my fiance Kira that I would be asking her to marry me one day. I told her that the first time we started within the first week of actually talking about a relationship. So now what I'm doing is going, okay, this is how my world is going to work. But she's coming up. She's already got the ring on her hand. So this is not a question of me talking about, oh, I'm going to make this happen. It's a question of, this is what I'm doing, and here's the proof of it. Which is really nice on my part, because it's like I've told you, I'm not about to lie to you to make you feel better. But, you ask me a question, I'll give you an honest answer from what I know. Now, I'm not going to guarantee that you're going to like the answer, nor that it's going to add up to what you were told before. Because the reality of it is, I don't get my information from research. I get my information from life experience. And yes, I know this means I've ended up with a whole pile of different things happening. Okay. And different pieces of information that are just there. One of these days, I'm going to do the other side of this, which means I am going to get into some of the creatures some of the races that I know, as I'm working on them, making certain that I make little crib notes to finish off that book. Because Races of the World, second edition, is coming along. It's just I gave up trying to pin down exactly when I was going to complete it. Because too many things in the last couple of years have created a problem. So now what's happening is I'm going to get them finished. As a matter of fact, that's an excellent idea. I don't plan much ahead for a day in the office. Primarily because I got too many things on the go, and trying to plan that much doesn't work all that well. Now, there we are. As you can see, this takes a lot of paint to get these finished. But, much as it's doing that, it's also getting them finished. Thereby meaning I can actually accomplish what I set out for. Oh, I'm going to have to go back and figure that one out. See, the nice part about doing a home painting, these figures, They don't have to be perfect. So I don't get overly stressed about it. And there we have it. Now, and see, even with red paint, see, now I can put a second coat on here of the legs because I already did the rest of it today. And of course, I've got a few other things. Actually, in all fairness, I got to start putting together a list of what I'm working on. Something just dawned on me. What I'm going to look and see if I can find is a high speed pottery wheel, but it's got to be a very high speed one, so that I can do. There was something done when I was a kid. There was a neat little thing going on with the PNE, Pacific National Exhibition. They had a neat little wheel in there where you would they took oil-based paint and they set this picture spinning, this piece of paper spinning, and all they did was poured a little bit of ink into it, a little bit of paint into it, and let centrifugal force do the painting. And I always thought it was so neat. So I'm seriously looking into that sort of thing. I'm not about to try the pottery side because I don't know about you, but my hands don't work that well anymore. Okay. Now. Oh, did I ever do that? Oh, that's okay. See, nice part about it with this painting is that I'm not actually trying to make certain it's absolutely perfect. I am doing my best with it, don't get me wrong. And as Joe puts it, I'm not perfect, but I am doing my best. So now what I'm looking at is just tying this off. There we are. What do you think? That almost does look orange in the video, which is the color it should be. Now, put that over there. That goes up in there. You get that. And again, when you're working, always, always, always go out of your way to clean things up again, to keep it contained. If you don't, you'll end up with one heck of a disaster. I'll pop that in there. That goes in there. And what do we got? Now, take these. Where are we? Now, yeah, I wasn't expecting there to be. See, the sad part is, guys, yeah, I babble while I'm working. But the reality is I feed on what's being asked in the chat room, even now. So I talk more to myself when I'm doing this run than I ever do when I'm sitting on my own. Don't have that. Okay. Now. Well, that made me dizzy. Yeah, what do we got here? I know tonight we're going to be looking at, as a matter of fact, I should take a look at that, shouldn't I? If I take these and put them over here, then I can get to taking a look at what tonight's stream is. Oh, tonight's the 31st, so that can be put over there because I got to tie it up today. As a matter of fact, this is that list I keep telling you to work with. Might be able to do that while I'm at it. Okay. Now this is February. February we are working with, 31st. We are not in February yet, dingbat. Today is the 31st, and we are dealing with patients. Oh yeah, because we moved everything. That's where the problem was. It's supposed to be patients on the 28th. We had to move it backward. Well, persistence today. My apologies. Patients will be tomorrow. Then on Sunday, we'll be dealing with techniques in astral travel. And then we go into the paranormal for beginners and Akashic records, accessing your own Akashic records. After that, I haven't laid it out yet, but that's today, so that gets moved one. That'll take care of it, so I can start working. I'm actually booking into the 7th now. Into the 7th February. Doing my best to get ahead of the game. What do we got here? I am actually trying to answer questions while they're coming in through Messenger as well as an email when I can get to them while I'm doing this. It's just saying if this pans out. Try that this way. There we go. Slowly getting my typing back. Is anything popping here that I need to know about? No. That's always nice. Just taking a quick check in email. Didn't get anything. That's good. Didn't really desire anything there anyway. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I'm not, in all fairness, like I said. Now I'm looking at this going, I've got one person in, and bearing in mind I'm in the link. This is just me. But it does force me to make sure I get things accomplished that I've been putting off. Now, what do I got here? Okay, that is... Yeah, let's see. Take that all the way back to there. Okay. The funny part about it is I had a lot of people asking if I was going to come back online at this hour. And I don't really have, I decided I was, right? But the really fascinating part about it is I don't have a real heavy duty turnout, but that's okay. Like I said, in this case, I literally came to the conclusion that it boils down to it gives me some dedicated time to work on things I've been putting off. But I would like it if my head would stop spinning. Oh, I know what the problem is. Not to worry, guys, this is just salt. As in run-of-the-mill table salt. There we go. In all fairness there, hey, I really haven't read them. I thought about it. I tried reading Game of Thrones, finally. I've seen virtually every movie of the Harry Potter movies, but I haven't actually read them. Right now I've decided I'm focusing on getting the Bible finished. I was reading 3 books at a time, but I was making no headway at all. So I'm focusing on getting the Bible finished, and then I may look at the Harry Potter books. I don't know if I actually have them here. I think my eldest son used to have them, or maybe it was my youngest. But no, I've never actually read them. I did, however, read The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. As a matter of fact, The Hobbit was the first book I just literally did not desire to put down. I still have to check that one, so that'll get done afterwards. Couple of things that I found with reading. I still believe books, actual physical books, are better than audiobooks in most cases. Now, understand, for the blind community, audiobooks are imperative. Absolutely imperative. Well, that's always intriguing. It's amazing. I was asked to make sure, a lot of people said they really desired me to be in and be on at this hour. And, I am here and I will be for a while because it is making sure that I've got the focus on my stuff. But I'm not an exciting stream by any stretch. It really boils down to one thing. I've got things I feel have to be done in order to turn my life around. But the reality of it is virtually everybody has the same problem. You know, most everybody has done things ineffectively in their life. And what I'm just encouraging people to do at this point is literally make certain that you change what you've been doing and what you've been doing. I really should learn to read. It's really imperative that we make changes to the way our world's been going. Oh, 26. Yep. Okay. Let's go 26, 27, 28. $28. 26, 29, 7. 28, 26, 29, 27. 25, 29, 26, 22. Okay. That gets the dates for the one set of checks coming in. That deals with them quite nicely. So that's done. Now, what do we got? Of course, I keep going back to this to make certain that I follow through. What do we got here? I look at the way that my world is going, and the changes I'm making to it are absolutely remarkable with the outcomes, at least in my eyes. Thing is, I had some absolutely huge dreams. And it turns out that was a bad idea. Don't get me wrong, dreams are a good idea. But the dreams I had for what to do with the stories, with what to do with my writing, it's not that I've given up on them. I'm going to continue writing. Matter of fact, where are we here? Oh. The nice part about it is that when you make a decision that you're changing your life, the whole catch to it is going to be literally focusing on making those changes happen. Where are we here? Here we are. When you make a decision that your life is not what you're aiming at, you're the one that's going to have to stand your ground on it. And as I told some people today, I'm tired of trying to explain things to people that just don't get it. It's just a major problem in my eyes. Well, where are we? Bam, bam. If we go backwards, Yeah, let's see if we got that. Let us see if we've got that. I like that color. I may have to go for another walk here. But this is what a day in the office is all about, to be frank. What color did I do? Let's see what blue was. What cobalt turned out. Yeah, let's do that. Well, we got blue. Well, I got little black dots on either an orange or green shirt. So let's do blue. Where are we here? They vary between blue and black, so I think we'll go with blue. Just because it's a little brighter. I'm referring to Pebbles to Pebbles shorts. Yeah. So and here we go. Like I said, this is stuff that I do this because it just gets it done. And stuff I have been working on that I really should have been. But in this fashion, in this fashion, I can get the painting done and actually see changes happen. I'm really not that unhappy with the way these are turning out. But then I'm not exactly looking for perfection. Just more to the point, I'm doing my best. And realistically, what more can you really aim for? Because I am no Rembrandt or Picasso, nor Michelangelo. But I remember going back a ways. Let's go back to the Lemurians, which, this is one of the reasons why my little brother actually thinks I'm completely off my rails. Because of what I told him about the end of the Lemurian Empire. Now, granted, I cannot prove it. I can tell you that they were so good at physical manifestation, their entire civilization was built that way. But the thing is, when things get too easy, people get bored, and other races have the same problem. As a matter of fact, even some of the more primitive races that we have on Earth, such as lions and tigers and bears, oh my, they will get bored in captivity if they don't have something to stimulate their brain. They get very bored, and that's why they pace a lot. But the Lemurian Empire had physical manifestation down to such a fine art. They literally could make whatever they desired, and with mental cohesion, they managed to keep everything in existence, even when they were sleeping, because other people would carry the memory. But at one point, somebody, and we never did figure out who, somebody came up with the idea, well, what if we all just shut our physical hearts off? Now, we had the capacity to do that. We knew that. We knew we had the physical capacity for it. What we weren't aware of is just exactly what the side effect was going to be. Okay, so somebody came up with the idea, well, what happens if we just shut our physical, what if we just shut our physical body, our physical heart off? Well, nobody thought it through, so what ended up happening is everybody did that. And unfortunately, the second that happened, things ended up getting complicated. And we lost half the population, as in 5 billion people dead in a matter of moments, because most of us couldn't kick our heart back in. And when that happened, what we ended up with was an absolute catastrophe. Because now, with everybody dropping dead so fast, we had 5 billion people. We couldn't bury them. Couldn't, and of course, all the supply and what have you went. But now we were afraid to connect with each other. Now, fortunately, at that point, there had been some breakaway civilizations that were literally taking root. They were the people that didn't quite have the capacity in their own head to physically manifest what they desired. So they turned back to the physical world. And then those of us that still had telepathic capacity ended up merging with these other races that didn't have the abilities in order to just simply survive. In a nutshell, the Lemurian Empire ended overnight. Now, that was, of course, 10,000 years after we colonized Mobius on the far side of the sun. I'm working on a couple of other things. I haven't quite figured out how to make things more interactive. And if you've got ideas, guys, absolutely let me know. The fact of the matter is, I don't play a lot of video games myself. So I don't do that, and I don't bother with this idea of, oh, let's lie to you to make it sound really good. I'm not good with the lying thing. But we are making decent headway here. Now, do I have anything going on? Probably not. Looks like this week I'm going to be pretty much on my own, which is okay. I can work with that. Because I've had, what have we got? 7 a.m. Really? Yeah, I guess that's about right. Looks like today I'm basically on my own. There hasn't been a lot of people in the room. There really hasn't been a whole lot of people in the room today, which is fine. This just keeps me, like I said, it keeps me somewhat focused. Now, let me see here. Let's do this. This is one of those other little things. TJ2. What I'm doing is a bunch of work that I track on my hard copy here in order to make sure that I can stay on top of things. What have I got? TJ2, TJ3. There's another 2J2 on the 16. 17, 18. Like a very poor record there. Okay, now TY, where are we? Go back up here. I did not get a lot done. That was primarily journal because I kept getting sidetracked. So TY3. Okay, so let's get focused on that for tomorrow. And where are we here? Whoop. Can't read as well as I'd like without my glasses, but here's a neat little kicker with glasses. If you can't read properly without them, the more you work with your eyes, the stronger it'll get. See, eyes are simply another muscle. If you don't use them, they will not get stronger. If you do, you may be surprised. Okay, time to start paying those off. I'll be able to do that in April and get rid of a whole pile of things that I know. Okay, that's been done. Have to get that dealt with. Gotta bring that one up. And what are we working on here? Oh, yes. See, the nice part about it, is, I do have to tilt that down a little so you can see what I'm working on, don't I? Wonder if eyeballs. I kick my volume back in. Oh, there we are. Now, the nice part about this is I'm talking about things that you're not content with and what to do about it. Well, the reality is this. If you're not content with the way your life is going, you're the one that's going to have to do the changing. I hear so many people talking about, just pray and, your prayers will be answered. Well, I'm a Christian. I believe wholeheartedly in prayer. Unfortunately, you got to also remember the other statement that goes with that, which realistically is, quite literally, God helps those that help themselves. And by the way, he wasn't talking about thieves. So, You want your life to change, you're going to have to be the one to make it happen. So that is literally what I'm working on. One thing I did find, by the way, what you get excited about in your life may not be what gets other people excited. And this is why, much as I'm continuing to write, I've come to the conclusion that it's a cute thought, but I'm not about to. I had somebody call the other day regarding helping me get my books more visible. And the reality is this: they wanted money up front. I said, sure, send me a contract. Wasn't expecting a whole lot. Good thing, because they didn't send one. But just a flat out note. Am I willing to pay for spreading the knowledge that I've got the books available? Absolutely. But I'm doing it based on performance. Okay. In other words, once the word is done, I figured out how to track word of mouth. Once books start selling, I will be returning money to people based on a sliding scale I set up with the proviso I got to have $2,500 a month coming in myself to start with. And there's one couple of people that I finally figured out how to deal with, because the way a lot of governments are set up, it seems, is if you're on social assistance and you make more money, they'll cut your social assistance. In other words, let's keep you poor and struggling. I'm going through this myself, so I figured out how to deal with that. And there are certain people that what's going to end up happening is when I see them, which will be sometime down the road, okay, I will turn money over to them. Now, here's something that just come to mind about a past life I had. Okay, way back in the mid 1700s, as in 1760, living in Louisiana, I ran a plantation down there. Now, the neat part about it is, actually, in all fairness, I ran 3 plantations. But the neat part about it was I didn't agree with slavery. I still do not agree with slavery. Okay. There are so many things that are just wrong in my eyes. So back then, I bought 2 slaves. Okay. In all fairness, I bought them as a way of helping somebody out. Okay, I brought them over from Europe as slaves. By the way, they weren't black. Okay, and the reality is, as soon as I got them into my house, I cut them loose as far as slaves went. But I didn't turn them out into the world. I simply went, this is, you're here now, so let's make the most of it, because we got to make your life better. But here's what I did with the slaves. I turned around, and yeah, this was definitely a little cross-eyed. But I turned around and went, I know slaves are going to run away. So I trained a group of people to go out and track down runaway slaves. But here's how I did it. I tracked them down, and then when they found the slave, I'd get the story from the slave about how badly they were getting beaten and that sort of thing. And I'm like, this doesn't work for me. So I come up with a brilliant idea. I turned around and I told the slave owners, I said, okay, this slave took way, it's going to cost, I will go get him for you, but it's going to cost you $10 for me to get it, to cover my expenses and what have you. So I'd collect the slave up. The slave would tell me what the story was. And I go, okay, I go back because I was working within the law on this part. And I go back and I return the slave. Okay. But, so I get my $10. But then that same slave would run away again. And this time when I went out and caught them, then we'd hang on to them for a couple of days, bring them back to the slave and say to the slave owner and go, this one was way more work than I was expecting. I end up out of pocket. I need another $10 to balance the scales here. Right? And if they complained, I just kept the slave. If they didn't complain, then I'd turn the slave back over to them. And the next time I'd charge them $20 more. Sooner or later, they get fed up and they tell me to keep the slave. Bear in mind, I made 10 on the first run, 20 on the second run, and 30 on the third run. Then they told me to keep them. Okay. Ultimately, they paid me to take care of their slaves, or more to the point, to keep their slaves. But in all of this, I found out that many slaves couldn't run because they'd end up hobbled or something to that effect, meaning both ankles broken. So this is where I got creative and went outside the law. I trained another crew to go in and kidnap the crippled slaves. And then we go through the same routine all over again. Okay, so I ended up outfitting 3 plantations with slaves that somebody else had bought the initial payment for. Now here's the other kicker to it. When we got slaves, you could not pay slaves. That was what they were. You paid, they were in indentured servitude until their term had been served. But it did come to pass that you were able to give a slave a one-time payment when you cut them loose, if you so chose. And when I did that, at the end of their term, now I couldn't pay them. So what I do is I put a jar aside, and let's say I was paying $1 a month to I would pay $1 a month to my employees. Well, I would take $1 and put $1 in each jar for each individual slave. Now, when the slave died, if they had no slave family, I keep the money. If they didn't, if they died and they had family, I split their wages, their bonus up amongst all members of their family equally. Okay. Now, at the end of it, I would simply take that jar and go, here's your one-time bonus. So let's say they worked for 20 years. Okay, so you got, that's 240. At $1 a month, they'd get $240 in one lump. And I'd be like, okay, you're free to go. And the most common thing I'd get asked is, well, do we have to move out? Do we have to go? I said, no, I just have to pay you. Well, do we have to move out of our home? No, I don't care if you stay living with the others. I just have to pay you. So this was the way things were done. And if I had the money, that's how I'd be doing things with my own employees. Okay, because I'll tell you, one of the biggest things I came across is I'm looking at it going, well, if you take a look at an apartment manager, okay, up here, now I don't know what it's like in the States, but here in Canada, at least in Kelowna where I am, if somebody hires an apartment manager, okay, somebody to work 24/7 to keep an eye on the apartment block, the landlords up here still have to pay half price. Now, to me, this is insane. Okay, they're working 24/7 already. Now, if you think about it, because they don't get that 22-day work week. So let's just take it at every month has 28. So you take 28 days a month times 8 hours a day equals 224 hours of work. Now, if that's what they're making, now a single bed or two in the apartment I'm in, we're paying $1,400 for a single bedroom. I think it's about $2,200 for a two bedroom. So, based on a 2-bedroom apartment, if we take what is now, even if we take $2,000 a month for the apartment, okay, we take $2,000 a month, divide by 224 hours. They're only making $8.90 an hour if they were to get paid for the whole time. But they're still paying half the rent. Meaning, if they're paying half the rent, they're only getting $1,000. Yeah, so they're working. That would be $8.90 if they paid the $2,000. But if they're paying half of it, meaning $1,000, they're getting paid $1,000 divided by 224, and they're only getting $4.50 an hour. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, this is insane. Okay, it's just absolutely insane. The amount of work involved is just ridiculous. You know, I could go on a whole list of things that are wrong in that department. Now, where are we here? Okay. You know, let's get some of this stuff put out of the way because I don't require it. You know, it's kind of funny. You know, I've been living my life based on trying to help people. And, you know, from what I'm seeing in society, it's not working as well as I would like. You know, because quite seriously, what seems to be happening is that people are, shall we say, more caught up in the immediate gratification. I don't talk about suddenly getting ahead. You know, it's going to take work. Where are we here? What do we got here? Take that, take a look, and he is wearing orange. Yep. Okay, let's get that back here. Really? Yep, we are getting on there. I am curious, and literally it's just curiosity thing, as to who is actually still in the room. I know I'm there, but it would seem I've only got one other person in the room. I'll be right back because I'm gonna go see if I've got the color I'm looking for.
was the only one that would say he was good. I said Miller and Verlin had the biggest potential in this fucking team, and now look at them. Both of them were good. I also said that Pedersen was bad at the beginning, but I didn't really like Pedersen at the beginning. When I started watching, I didn't really think that he was a good player.
Okay, there we go. And grab that. And we require a paintbrush over here. Oh, that's garbage. Look, 10 seconds, guys. Okay, let's see. That'll work, that won't. This one, on the other hand, will. So, mentioned I was going to get this one and these guys done. So that's what we're working on. Whoop, where is Bam Bam? Yeah, it's orange. Okay, pop that back there. And finish off this part. His hair is white, so we'll leave that alone. Now, in this particular case, again, I'm just finishing. I'm getting these done. Once I get them done, I'll move on to something else. But see, nice part about these paintings, because of the fact that I'm not claiming to be I'm not claiming to be a professional painter by any stretch. So I'm just turning around with these and going, okay, I'm going to do them as best I can and carry on from there. But I figure, way too many people, in my opinion, ask their kids, oh, what would you really like for Christmas? I'll ask people what they desire during the year if they're looking for something. But I decided that for 2025, I am simply buying people, or more to the point, making people what I think would be nice. Sometimes it'll be something practical, sometimes it won't be. But that depends on what I'm feeling at the time. And of course, it really boils down to this. You know, when I look at at this sort of thing, I look at it going, okay, what can I do? Like, for instance, if I'm going to give people t shirts, I will be selling them, don't get me wrong. But if I'm getting one made for somebody, I will literally get them dealt with. Hey, now there's an idea. See, I had an idea for a Christmas gift for a t-shirt for a friend of mine. So what I'm going to end up doing, because they don't make them in bundles, if I get the embroidery ones with the company I work in that I found, and it's a local company. Now the thing is, they send out for their stuff. You know, they get it done out of the city. But the fact of the matter is, they themselves are locally owned. So I'm going to be ordering through them, but it just dawned on me. I've got the minimum I can do with an embroidered shirt is 6. So what I'm going to do, and this is just going to be the way it works, is I'm going to order 6, one specifically for somebody, and I'll have 5 available in his size that other people will be able to buy, which will get me that man, which will sort that out for me. And again, it'll go on to the merchandise and that sort of thing. You know, the reason for that is because it's still something I'm having done, but there's no way I can do the embroidery or the shirt. But it will be personalized for him. And then, of course, I'll tell people, okay, this is the ones I've got. If you want one, here's what the cost is. And then you get to figure out if you're interested. I'll be doing the same thing with coffee cups. Because I figure coffee cups and t-shirts will be very easy to work with, as well as the writing and the consulting. But it just dawned on me how to go about making that happen properly. So that's just another one of those things that's going to come about that I'm talking about doing that you'll find in the next little while. As a matter of fact, you will probably find it happen in you'll probably find it happen in April where the t-shirts are concerned, because I desire to get my Christmas stuff out of the way beforehand. You know, before Christmas gets here. It won't cost me less. As a matter of fact, it's likely to cost me a small fortune more. But I'm going to spread it out over time. Same as I'm getting back into writing the poetry, important poetry and short stories. You know, not to mention the novels and the self-help books. You know, I somehow don't think I know how to relax. You know, it just seems to be a problem. So what I'm doing here, this is just, as you can tell, it's coming along rather quickly at this point. But then it's large area. So this is working out rather nicely. Actually, when I first started doing this, I figured, what the heck? What can I do so I'm not, so I'm actually getting something done? Because just sitting here, sadly, talking to myself a lot of the time, I'm obviously not getting a whole lot of interaction here. We've had 2 people in here pretty much for the whole day, for the whole couple hours. And this is why I decided, okay, I'll keep doing it because I'm still getting the stuff done I require. And that is the primary purpose of a day in the office. Is literally for me to just say, okay, this is what I'm working on. And then while I'm working on it, I'll keep babbling away. And if you guys have a question, absolutely ask. And honestly, it doesn't seem to matter what the topic. I seem to have answers to a lot of things. Don't ask me exactly where I get the answers because I'm really not 100% certain. I do know I don't question whether they're accurate or not. I just simply look at it going, this is the information I'm getting, and therefore I'm going to deal with it. So as you can tell, we're actually making decent headway here. There we go. So, this is coming along quite nicely in my eyes. But this is just the first pan, the first coat. I'll end up doing 2 or 3 before I finish. Not a bad setup, really. Gotta figure out what to do with that, but. But what has happened here? I've got a fair chunk, and this is just the one side of the Christmas gift I'm working on. I've got a lot more to do. But I do believe, yep, we are coming down to the last couple of minutes here. For those of you that popped in, thanks so much for sharing your time with us. We really do appreciate it. This is just the way, like I said, this provided me with a great opportunity to get these little tasks done that I have been putting off. Now, I'm going to shut down and I'm going to go and get a quick bite to eat, probably. But much more importantly, I'm going to get back to writing. And then tonight, I will be on dealing with attaining your success, persistence. That'll be tonight at 9 p.m. Pacific. So I do hope to see you then. Let me just tie this last little piece off. And again, thanks so much for sharing your time with us. Really appreciate it. But we have been 2 hours or close to it. So, with that in mind, I'm going to say thank you so very much. Do enjoy the rest of your night. And I hope to see you at 9 p.m. Pacific on Positive Perceptions. Until then, do take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive.